how do we adapt and what do we change if people aren't showing a home? So overall goal today is really to cover the two key areas that Tom Ferry shares when it comes to the marketing of listings. And many times when people are questioning, your marketing or what makes you different than others, as Tom would state that, are you familiar with the difference between active marketing and passive marketing practices? So that's just back to Tom's, hey, let's make sure we have a simple way to articulate value. And for many people, if you go back to a unique value proposition, meaning what is a unique selling proposition? And is, how many times, insert problem, right? How many times it appears like all agents do the same thing by just putting a sign in the yard. Well, one of the things that you'll find about, and then you insert your value proposition, right? One of the great things about Cam and Sean's real estate team is that we market our listings utilizing the two forms of listing marketing, which is not only passive marketing, but also active marketing. And what that has done, so the third component of a unique selling proposition is, how many times, insert problem, then share your value proposition that solves it. And then what's the result, which many times leads to Cam and Sean's real estate team selling our properties on the market for half the time and 5% over value compared to most agents, right? So then you kind of close with the results. But it's always fun because, when we're asked what makes us special or, why won't you lower your commission is, hey, great question. How many times? And the goal there is that you have these statements or propositions of value that you can share. So I'm real excited for our conversation today. Overall, when we look at listing marketing and what's happening across the market is, Kristen, share a little bit more about your market. Are you guys seeing some homes stay on the market, maybe potentially not see, showings occurring in certain listings?
100%, all of the above and all the price points too. Sorry, my son is in the background. That's why I'm on mute and off camera. Only one of them we've really had quite a bit of showings on, and it's because we priced it really aggressively because they needed to sell ASAP. But otherwise it's been very, very slow.
Yeah. Now share with me where you guys are at on inventory and what you're noticing. I'll just give you an example. I got our first to know from our title company. Our inventory went from 0.5 months of inventory in the Denver Metro to 1.2 from May to June, meaning a 50% growth, from where it was before. In January, February, March, we were at 0.3. So like seeing 0.3 to 0.5, is not a large, adjustment, still same increase in percentage, but 0.5 to 1.2 is quite a bit, right? Now, in context, in 2019, we were at 2.7, and 2019 was a great year to be a real estate agent in the Denver metro area. So I'm not, painting that in any structure of doom. What I'm saying, it was a big jump. And I'll give you two examples in our market. Is there was a property that listed for an agent that I was talking to. 37 homes have listed in this neighborhood in the last 4 weeks. 37. Okay. And then there's another area of an expired listing that I was talking to him about, and there's only 2 available properties. So it seems like inventory in certain areas is also a huge, I guess you would say, factor to showing traffic, right? Meaning if there's 30 homes available, like Krista said, unless there's some type of special reason why visit yours. And that's the whole goal and topic today of talking about marketing. I think every agent should probably be in this mastermind just over the next month or two of, hey, what are we doing to make sure we're adding value as agents? Because I like charging 4% if possible on a listing, right? I like charging the most amount I can for the value you believe in yourself. But this is where true testament of value comes is, okay, you're not getting showings. What do? And obviously as a performance coach, I don't want this to be some type of objection handler, like how we kind of create the fluff. What I really want to know is, what do we do to drive showing traffic when we're not getting showings, or potentially find buyers, you know what I mean, for our listings, because that is an active approach of what we can do. So share with me what you guys are hearing about market and or inventory, and then we'll get into the context of the discussion today.
I don't know our numbers like as well as you do, but I know it's we've taken a drastic turn, just like a lot of other places. Inventory has grown significantly. And then also demand has slowed a little bit. So like I said, I don't know the numbers, but I know it's obvious.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like in our area that we're still getting multiple offers, but instead of 12, we're getting 6.
Nice.
And so, and buying a little more time where maybe it's 8 days or 10 days before it goes pending. So that would be the biggest shift that I'm seeing, unless it's super aggressively priced, like the multifamily I showed on Saturday at 379. The agent told me he has 2 offers at 502.
Yeah. Okay. So here's, this is kind of the nice part and perspective I get to provide coaching agents all across the nation, is I'm hearing some things like Kristen and other people in the Midwest, which are telling me it's like dramatically changed. You know what I mean? Just, wow, this is night and day difference. And then Sean, what you just shared, it's kind of a lot, like that's maybe 3 months ago, for some other markets is just, you know what? We were seeing 20 offers. Now we're down to 4, but I'll tell you this, I'll take 4 offers all day on any home I list, or even 1. What I'm talking about is when you get none, and it's combined with 0 showings, which is what I'm running into in some markets right now. Is just, hey, I can't even get people into this house. So Sean, anything on your end?
Yeah, so we're just, I just checked the numbers the other day. I sent them to, it was like, we just hit 3 months of inventory, which is huge increase.
Right.
And then you have a massive slowdown. I've been offering credits to buyers as well. That's been pretty decent. But overall, it's like, you got to lower that price dramatically to get some showings.
Yeah. So the part that I always share with people is the most important part. If you're doing this long-term, Mark, we'll chalk it up to you taking the record, all right, of the tenure in the room. But when you do this long-term, the goal really is to develop a scalable business that's founded on repeat and referral. Just meaning you're so good at what you do that everywhere you go, people talk about the services and the value you add. Now, when you look at where a lot of people are picking up listings, is the better that your Google profile is. So when people naturally just search best agent in X area, and there you go, Google's now putting these agents in front of people, and you got 500 5-star reviews compared to somebody who has 20. We also know that commonly, that's why they click on your ad. So the message I want us to kind of root ourselves in is this isn't just about the paycheck. This is about getting a 5-star review from every person that we provide a service to, right? This is getting a referral from every single person that we do business with because their experience was so good. That's really the conversation that we're talking about today, is what type of marketing are we doing? So then that way, no matter what happens, their experience was so good, I still get referrals and they're going to give me 5 stars, which then we have to ask ourselves, well, then what do you do in these type of markets that are changing? And the reason why I bring that up is I know there's going to be good and bad markets in the future. And I'm hoping that the actions of today only help us generate more of that when that time comes. So let's dive into what you guys are currently doing. Let's just start passively, not the hustle work or the hard stuff, but just, throw out some stuff real quick. I'll go down the line. Whoever wants to kind of start first. Sean, you do 100 listings a year. So you guys, when you look at somebody who performs a lot of volume, I'll let you just kick off first, but let's start just throwing out. Here's when I list a property. So then that way you guys can also leave this saying, I have a 97-point marketing checklist. That's what Tom always talks about, right? Like when you're selling this, is like, how many points do you have? What do you do to show people like, hey, nobody could have out-marketed me? Yes, some of it's fluff. That's why we're talking passive first. But at the end of the day, it's also the perceived value that somebody feels that, hey, you didn't not check off any of the boxes when you're going to come back to me and tell me we have to lower my price by 5%, right?
Mhm.
So Sean, share a little bit of what you're currently doing.
Right now, biggest thing I'm looking at is direct competition with my listing, right? That particular listing. So, what it is offer and what type of buyer that would be, and just look at across the board the price that we're at, and then bring that to the buyer or the seller, excuse me, and then let them know, like, we're getting no showings at this price. This is our competition. What do you think we should do to become stand out in our competition, which leads to price reduction.
Yep.
And then offering credit is massive, because even if I've had that happen a couple times where we are the best price, but I'm still not getting showings. So that's when I offer a credit to the buyer to pay their closing costs or whatever.
Okay.
Stand out more.
I like it. So we're doing some credits to closing costs already, even though some people might go, gosh, I didn't even think that maybe I should try that. Well, you're right. If there's a lot of competition, we're kind of the Lowe's Home Depot, right? They're right across the street from each other. Why'd you buy the floor there, Mark? Well, it's $1.64 square foot. Why didn't you go there? Well, it was $1.69. That's pretty close. I know, but they're right next to each other, right? So, okay, I like the small incentives. What else currently for marketing exposure are you doing, Sean?
Facebook paid ads, Google, of course, Instagram, and then we're actually starting open houses again. So,
okay,
those are the
when
normal.
you're doing your Facebook, Instagram paid ads, where are you driving them to, or what is the what's the end goal of when you're spending the money on the social?
Well, they all go to website, get driven to my website. However, the biggest goal is to keep them, because in Facebook they keep that in the database, right? So you can just, whenever you boost ads again, you're hammering those people. So yeah, we sell houses from the Facebook ads, but a lot of sellers come from the ads as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. And remember, my goal today is that some stuff comes after that you guys go, you know what? That's something that I can't say. What I mean by that is just like, hey, before you tell me to lower $35,000, what else do you do in marketing? Well, here's what I do. You know what I mean? To get, again, maybe it's 10 people, maybe it's 100, but when you look at the reach, and you copy and paste that, it shows that your $50 ad spend reached 8,000 people. I don't know if that's of value to them before you say, hey, wasn't the marketing. So now that we're looking at the market, hey, Sean, I appreciate your experience. What I mean by that is somebody saying, hey, you know what? We had to drop the price, but man, the amount of work that my agent did is why you guys would want to use them. You know what I mean? Is what we're kind of going for here on the experience. Anything else that you currently do to market it for exposure?
Market it for exposure. I mean, that's the biggest thing though, because like you said, those ads get 8,000 to 10,000 people to see it, and those are targeted ads. Those are you can switch and I share the specifics on the targeting, because every house is different. Is it a vacation rental? Is it a family home? And you just tweak those targeted ads, and you can share them, like, these people who saw it recently visited Zillow, recently went to our area, is most likely to move, things like that. And people, they love that.
Okay, I like it. All right. Anything else you think of share with the group exposure wise that you're doing that you believe is driving showings, or potentially, helping create showings?
I think that's it at the moment.
Okay, cool. Who wants to go next? What are you doing to expose a property, marketing right now, to try to drive showings?
I'll just jump in real quick and say I'm really doing some passive marketing, which is why I'm here. So
Okay.
I know my team shoots it out to a lot of different places, and I've done postcards and whatnot, but yeah, I need some additional strategies, and where Facebook targeted ads, I've been considering it. So hearing you say that it's actually been working and you're actually getting leads. But oddly enough, I'm not even getting any sign calls on mine, which is just like crazy. So anyway, that's why I'm here.
Nice, Kristen. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I love it. Okay. Anybody else got some stuff exposure wise that they're doing?
I would say the only thing that I do that Sean didn't mention is, and I happen to have a good list because I owned a gymnastics club. So I have that database of names for email marketing that if, you know, if the home is close by to them, they can kind of pick their neighbors, you know what I mean? So that would be the only other exposure. I don't get enough listings to go really give my 2 cents, but that would be the only thing that I can add.
Okay. So next week, we're going to dive a little bit more into active. I wanted today to just be some more ideas around passive. One, to win more listings, right? Because I believe that if you can show that nobody can expose a property more than ever now, I think there's a value proposition there because people are aware of the changing market, right? As soon as they start hearing the stories of other people, then the value proposed is now of relevance. So what would you guys consider as the number one place where people go to judge how well their listing's doing?
Zillow.
Zillow for sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
Zillow.
Yeah. So now here's what's interesting about Zillow. So let's just stay on that topic. Okay. Does anybody have any creative ways that they utilize Zillow as, let's just call it a landing page or traffic to, knowing that it's not going to get you leads, right? Because, well, unfortunately, you know, they're going to give it to other agents, but the truth is I'm not trying to get leads right now. I'm trying to sell this freaking home, make some commission, right? I'm trying to show value to my clients. Okay. So if Zillow's one of the pages that they're looking at to, you know what I mean, judge how well their home's doing, is that any of your Facebook, social, and advertising, when you go to the objective being website traffic, you can add your Zillow link to the website traffic to show them how many links, or sorry, how many clicks your marketing actually drove. Okay. So, hey, the exposure on Zillow, because it's probably where they're going the most. So again, we're just trying to make sure that they see value in what we're doing, is that nobody's going to have more views than you are on Zillow, allows you to reinforce your marketing, right? And now when you get to articulate in the dashboard that Zillow has, right? When you go to the owner profile, it tracks each day the amount of views and saves that a property gets. So what I'm also looking at that some top agents are doing is their belief is just that, hey, it's going down in my MLS now, meaning it's been on there for a longer period of time. The only way I can re-trigger the MLS is to make a price adjustment, right? I don't know if your guys is the same, but you see like people do like $1,000 adjustments just to try to get like back up on the price drop, right? Well, the problem with that is also historical data, meaning like, why are you doing 1,000? Why are you doing 3,000? And, you know, Tom and Zillow would say that's death by a million paper cuts, right? Like usually, like you're saying, Sean, one cut, let's do this. Okay. It's going to be painful. We're going to adjust the price to the market because the goal of the price adjustment is what? A contract, right? Not, hey, to try to drop it again in another 2 weeks and another 2 weeks and another 2 weeks, hence the death by a million paper cuts, right? So the nice part about the Zillow is you can correlate the percentage of traffic that you drove there through your own marketing practice, okay? And if they view Zillow, so what I would recommend is asking people, where is the most important place that they want to see their home viewed? Okay. And if they say Zillow, or they say the newspaper, or that, you know what I mean? So we do need to just be asking more questions now in listing presentations around what do they view as great marketing. So, hey, one of the things with the change in the market is that we know marketing matters now more than ever. What is one of the places that's very important for you to see your home being viewed to make sure that you're exposing it to the most amount of people? Well, we definitely want to see it on blank. So that would just be overall, no matter where they want, you can use what Sean's talking about on all social platforms. And the nice part is it's a low cost marketing source, is why I'm just saying it. Like we all got to get back to probably the days of like, damn it, how much is my budget to market a property, right? Versus, yes, it was nice when we didn't really have to do much, but those days might be behind us. You know what I mean? So go ahead, Sean.
So are you saying take a link from Zillow to your property, put it on Facebook, boost that? That's gonna, it's not, it's going to direct people to Zillow, but it's gonna increase the views. So basically you're triggering views, even though you may not get contacted off of that.
Yep.
And okay, that's
Okay, now
interesting.
here's the other part with it though, is that who's on Zillow as a professional? The real estate agents that advertise because they should be good at what? Closing, right? Meaning getting people. So Zillow trains people now on appointment first, right? Like, hey, if they click on this, go get them an appointment. So technically, if we're strategically thinking, how do I get this in the hands of my peers and partners? The more people that land on that website, potentially, right, the agents are going to be connected and people may have more trust with a premier agent on going to see a home versus, you know what I mean, if I drive them to my website. Now, remember, Sean, driving to your website's perfectly fine too, because you might say, well, the value proposition is they talk to me, I'm going to get them there. So just a matter of just the whole kind of letting you guys know, like strategically utilizing a post. Now, Sean, you're not going to paste the link in there. What you're going to do is use pretty pictures, maybe a quick video. And then when you go to boost it, it's going to say, what's your objective? You want website traffic. And then it's going to ask you for the link to put in there. And so then when they start advertising it, it's got the little button, you know what I mean? When they click the ad, it's always going to take them to Zillow first versus having to read through your ad.
You're just creating a new landing page, really.
Exactly. But because it's really pretty, we should get a lot of click bait in a way, right? Meaning people going, oh, I'm going to click on that to see more pictures. But instead of it staying on Facebook, now you drove it to the #1 searched page. Okay. And remember, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just sharing ways to make sure that you guys have the most views. So that way people say you're correct. And so Sean hit it off with, I believe everybody should be doing some type of social media marketing just so you can show them reach, right? Meaning, hey, I reached 9,000 people with this ad. With 9,000 people, we got 372 extra people who clicked on it over the last week and saw your listing from me, right? From my marketing. Go ahead.
And then another one is a huge number that I show people is the virtual tour links with like Matterport. Because that's I mean, when you have a Matterport on there that's really done well, your overall showings will go down. But if you're having hundreds and hundreds of virtual people walking through your home and they're choosing not to schedule it, that's telling you something. I bring that one up too.
Well, I really like what you're sharing there. So now you're correct. Views should become saves. All right. Tours should become what? Showings.
Appointments.
Right. If there's not, now we're using kind of what we were talking about on last week's call. Strategy equals data, market, and marketing, right? So that's why we're kind of talking about this. Hey, I want to make sure that you see this as a strategy, not a lack of any of these things we're talking about. So Sean, I really like that. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying making sure you're utilizing the views of the 3D Matterport tours, which are low cost now, to show them that, hey, X amount of people took a virtual tour. And unfortunately, we still didn't get any of those people to go to a showing.
Yeah, exactly. And it will go high, hundreds of them, you know?
Okay.
So
I like this though, because you're showing
like that.
your marketing.
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
Okay. I did get virtual showings. So we're saying hey, we didn't not get showings. We got virtual showings. So same thing with what Sean's talking about. If you want to drive more virtual showings, you run an ad and you just use the landing page website traffic to be the 3D Matterport tour, which again, Zillow has put on their website, right? The Zillow tours. So obviously they believe tours lead to some type of exposure or benefit to marketing. Okay, I like it. Tell me more. What other ways to drive views? Showing that you have more views than anybody. Anybody doing YouTube views, video views? Who's doing anything views related?
I use HomeSnap. with all my stuff. It hits
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram, Google, depending on what the property is. I use Waze, which really jacks up the number. But I speak to a lot of my sellers right up front, is that people aren't looking for what they want when they're viewing homes. They're looking for what they don't want. They want to start to eliminate houses. And the online views tend to eliminate, or able to eliminate, a lot of houses right away. So with that in mind, it's how many price reductions away am I from a sale?
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Hey, it didn't sell. You know, I'm going to do a 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is. How many of them do I have to do to get an agreement?
Wow.
And
Mark,
the more views I have, then the more times I can say to the seller, hey, look, here's 10,000 people that saw your home and decided not to come see it.
yeah. Do you think 10,000 people who saw your property decided not to come see it over $5,000, Mark?
No, that's not happening.
So this is why we're bringing up views though. So to kind of close today
Right.
with passive, I want to get you a couple more, is to make sure that when you go to them to share the price adjustment conversation, is we get one adjustment to contract, meaning that's the goal, right? Less days on market and you guys getting to your commission. So why are we putting a little bit of this effort forth? Is if I got to boost something for $50 to get them to do $15,000 more on a price reduction, sign me up all day. I'll take that $50 out, because another 45 days cost me way more on my time, energy, and effort, you know what I mean, of dealing with this than the $50 to prove what we already know, which is in most of the time it is price. But I also want us to believe that marketing matters, meaning, you know what? No. Every so often, right, I show my 4% value by the story I get to tell of how that person clicked on my website. I connected with them over the phone, and I got a home sold that never would have sold if it wasn't for my marketing, right? And that's where then the marketing can be a story of why I'm worth $30,000 more. But really what we're talking about is I'm worth 1% more, right? Because I can save you 40,000 in the event that we don't go about doing this right. Data, marketing, right? So keep going. Has anybody heard of Zip Flyer? Check out zipflyer.com. It's pretty cool. Okay. Super cheap. It's like $30. They have the database of every agent in your MLSs, and you create a flyer that will drop to every agent. And then you get a report back. It says this one dropped to 9,000 of the 18,000 agents. And what ends up happening is it shows like how good that is. Like the open rate's usually like 4%. And if you got a 40% open rate, again, you could tell them like, hey, look how well we exposed it. Everything was perfect from the pictures. So this isn't the pictures. It isn't the marketing. It's the price, right? That's what we're going for on all this marketing, with the one offset though, that your marketing actually did save somebody $40,000. And then that's a video testimonial, right? That gets sent to every single listing that's ever giving you a hard time over 1% in the future, right? Or over anything of that in the future. So Zip Flyer. So then what I want you guys thinking about, and you know, when you're diving into Loom and looking at what Tom's teaching, is video views. Just meaning what are other ways for me to post something that gets a lot of views so I can show them, you know what I mean? Hey, I also ran this ad, $50, that got 6,000 views on it. Well, gosh, you know, the other agent wasn't talking about how they are going to expose it to 6,000 people looking at my video online. So now you generate 300 people to Zillow. I'm the #1 Zillow, you know, viewed page, which Zillow, if Mark, you're right, views equal saves. So if we get a ton of views and there's not a lot of saves, then it's telling us what? Price. The condition wasn't associated with somebody saying, I heart this, I want to come back and see it later, right? And when they save properties, many times that equals talk to agent, right? Okay, so again, these are all solutions. Anything else that's kind of piqued your mind from a solution base today?
I usually lead with the conversation that, you know, the market's going to tell us this first weekend if we got pricing right. So I already set the expectation. Don't not hire me based on price, because if you're willing to adjust after the first weekend, if we got it wrong, then I'm good. you know,
Yeah.
and so haven't had any, it's not a tough conversation, I guess, is where I'm going when I do have to have that, because they
Yeah.
know it.
Yep. It can become tough when you have to do it 10 times a week. You know what I mean? Like the more that you progress, you realize, and this is just some of the realities that all of us are up against. But the number one question I'm asking is, how are you driving views? Because
Yeah.
views is the first step to saves, the first step to virtual showings, Sean, like you're talking about. And it's just the easiest way for you to share how you market something, is to put the most eyeballs. And what Tom Ferry would share is exposure. No agent's going to expose your property more than I will to the general public. Zip Flyer will help you. HomeSnap will help you to the overall agent database. And now we can kind of put together more of these. As you do this more often, guess what happens? Your database grows. You know, I got a team that I coach in Dallas that, you know, has 14,000 YouTube subscribers from people relocating out of the state all the time. That's a marketing exposure for them, because the amount of people who view their page any given day. So remember, it's not necessarily new what we're talking about. YouTube was the founder of viewership, right? And viewership eventually equals some type of sell or information you're receiving. So we're going to dive into active prospecting. I'm really excited about that, you know, on next week's call, because I think it's very critical to make sure we keep showing our value. And remember, why are we all talking about this? Is I don't ever want people to think we're not worth 3 to 4%. That's just the truth, right? Okay, go ahead, Sean.
So I don't know what states everyone is in, but I'm just curious, because it's feeling like, since we're having this conversation, that is that coming across? Like, are properties sitting for longer now? Is that what we're prepping for? That's what I'm getting the sense for.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it so much here, but I'm getting the sense that that's why you might know something we don't, that's coming our way. You following me?
Yeah, Mark,
Yeah.
you're in Sean's area. Okay, so you guys, we got Maine, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? Sean is on the complete opposite end of the country in California, in the Valley. Okay, and then me and Kristen are stuck right here in the Midwest of Phoenix and Denver. And so you're right, the West Coast and Midwest is seeing it a lot right now, Sean. Okay, just meaning, like Sean said, Sean, just for helping with numbers perspective, you're at 3 months of inventory now. How many were we 2 months ago?
Not even one. Like it was
Okay.
0.6, 0.7.
Wow, that's
Okay.
big.
Yep. So 0.3 to 1.2 in a matter of 90 days, right? To, hey, 20 offers to crickets on showings. You know what I mean? Like just 0 showings. So that's kind of what we're all up against. But here's what's interesting. I think it's also an affordability situation with rates. Would you guys agree that some of this is just based on where was your affordability based off income levels in your area and how people are reacting to it right now?
Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
Okay. And then you have your fear base. So we're on a month by month basis right now. And that's why this is a relevant conversation, not for our market, but it's just super relevant to get ahead of it right now for what I was talking about of 5-star reviews, even with price adjustments. I mean, 5-star reviews and referrals, even with 0 showings in the first weekend, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
our lower priced here I'm in Southeast PA, Chester County. And we have 1.2 below 500,000 in inventory, 1.7 above. So we're still pretty good. And I know, Sean, you were talking about, the first weekend of showings, reducing the price. And I've listened to some agents here who like, oh, I haven't gotten an offer in 5 days. I need to lower the price. And I'm like, just take a step back. I mean, let the market absorb the information and the consumer absorb the information that's coming through and waiting. Like, I mean, the Fed's talking about raising another 3/4 of a point. And so people are hesitant and they have to kind of just absorb that information, same as the mortgage rates. And it takes a little more time than a couple of days. And I've been in this long enough that, hey, to be on the market for 6 weeks was no big deal. Okay.
Well, I had an offer for 800, waited a weekend, got 2 offers for 900.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right.
So Sean, you
So-
were bringing it up earlier from strategy, right? Just meaning, hey, if I'm
Right.
going to take a super overpriced listing, then the
Strategy.
strategy
Oh, yeah.
is that we're lowering it. But Mark, you're 100% correct. And we're seeing it. Kristen, you probably can chime in. You got market value homes that are on the market for 4 days and then they're adjusting value. It doesn't make value sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus let's play this out. And also from all of us, let me do some marketing. Let me try to get your home sold at value versus the only way I can sell is dropping price is the other. That's what I'm getting at. I want to make sure we have value proposition that says I can also sell homes with who I am and what I do and my company and marketing, not just the only way to sell a home is drop a price. Because then we get into the same conversation of, well, then all agents would be the same, right?
Yep.
No.
Well, we're not the same.
We're not the same. Right.
All right, guys. Anything else? Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, what's that home thing you guys keep talking about? Homestead, home for,
Now,
HomeBot.
no.
Home Snap, I think he's.
Home
Oh.
Snap.
Home snap. Okay,
Home
yes.
Snap,
I hadn't
yeah.
heard of that. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, it's tied in with our MLS.
Oh,
Ours
maybe
too.
it's
Exclusive
Trinity
rights and it's real simple.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does have good viewership, Mark. You're correct on that. Check it out,
Yeah.
Kristen, for sure.
I will,
Yeah,
I
those
will.
give you
Thank you,
views.
thank you.
Okay. All right, guys. Have an amazing
Hey,
week.
you too.
Okay. See ya.
You guys.
Thank you.